men's show for the digital age.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
FisherandCage.com.
Cindy Kaza was awesome, and there's just people who are genuine souls. She could be a shoe salesman, whatever the case may be. Just there's something very genuine about her, and all of us in this room, for the most part, are huggers.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is I was across the martial amp, and so I couldn't get over to her, and she went to like hug him. So I, shook her hand, but she gave you a hug because she was on your side. Then Ed came out and gave her a hug. Before she left, she came back by and she's like, "Oh, thank you so much," and gave you a hug. And this is not sexual. This is not perverted. This is something very genuine about hugging. I think people, and this is something that's instilled in me from my father. My father, I told you, if we got in a fight, before I would storm out of the house, he would hug me.
Right.
There's something very awesome and natural and soothing and awesome.
Yep, I agree.
And did I say awesome?
Yep.
Because it's awesome. And that's what a fucking cool chick, man.
It was fascinating, as the one person in the room in this building that didn't get a reading from her. It was fascinating to sit back and watch each one of you, from Bob to you to even
Ed. Jesus Christ,
God.
Ed.
It's so funny too, because she doesn't have this information, but yet she's arguing with him, going, "No, Ed, you're wrong.
Guns.
There are guns. I see a gun range," and he's going, "No, there's no guns. I'm texting my mom," and then he's like, "Well, yeah, well, he was a cop."
Yeah, but like I told her, and when we were talking real quick during the break, I told her the same thing I'm telling you guys, that when she said it, I was thinking hunting, shotgun, you know what I mean?
But cops have shotguns too.
Cops do have shotguns.
My buddy Steve, he says, "I hate to text you." Actually, he said yext, but I believe it should be text. "I hate to text you during your show. Had to wait for a break, but dude, I'm so jealous right now." He's a huge fan of hers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he knew who she was, and I think he wrote something on our Facebook page about it too. Him and his wife were saying how amazing that was.
Well, Bob and I are going. We've got the Brew
Brews with Attitude. That's
Brews with
at
Attitude
6 o'clock out at Pepin.
Yeah, so 6 to 7:30, and Pepin's what, 10 minutes at the most from probably from Ybor.
It's got to be give or take.
10 minutes, and then shoot over there and check her out at 8 o'clock. That'll be cool, because I would love to. Now, we don't talk a lot about this on the show because it's weird, but I meditate a lot, or I breathe a lot, and I feel like I go into special little places.
Oh, they're special. They are special little places that you go.
And I could sit in a room or whatever, and really start to feel something strange happening, coursing through my head. And I can't wait just to sit in that room tonight and just kind of sit there, and the sensations that'll be happening in my head, I know they're going to be very extreme, and I'm looking forward to it. But man, I don't even know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it. It's very interesting. When she got onto a spirit, she said, there was a big spirit here. Right. It was a male, and she said the tattoos and this, and we directed it towards Chef Aaron,
right,
who passed here. I was uncomfortable with that, because that's a very real tragedy, And
yes,
and if we're dicking around with what might be tricks of intuition,
right,
and we turn into something like that, I'd be very uncomfortable with it. But I whispered in your ear.
I did, and because we thought the same exact thing, and I think both of us, having done radio and entertainment and this form of entertainment for so long, you do learn to be sensitive. Like she was saying, she has to be very sensitive about the way she talks and who she talks to. But the fact that it went from that to Bob coming in here and having a very real emotional reaction, that justified the experience.
Yeah. Ed, what'd you think, man?
I told you already, I was blown away, because I didn't tell you guys. I have certain. My grandparents have passed away. I had a good friend in middle school that died in a car accident.
You've had certain people in your life that have died.
Yeah, but the one person I kind of wanted to talk to today, in a sense, was my uncle. Now, I hadn't told anybody. I hadn't told my wife. I didn't told you guys. I didn't said anything to her. I didn't say anything to anybody. So it's funny, because I was going to ask her after Jesse was done, and you were done, I was going to say, "Hey, is there any way we could talk to my uncle, or can we talk to one of my grandparents?" So when she said that there's one figure in the room, and she said, "I don't know if it's Henry, or maybe it's Harry," and my uncle's first name is George. So the whole time I'm like, well, it's not him, and then I'm like, wait a second, his middle initial was H. So before I said anything, because I thought it was Herman, I didn't know what it was. Before I said anything, I texted my mom, and his middle initial was Harrison. So I just thought that was, like I said to Fish before when you were in the bathroom, I said, it's not like she said, there's somebody in the room named Mike or John. You know what I mean? It was like...
Or Matthew or Mark or Luke.
It was so, to say Harry or Henry, I mean, to me that was just, and the fact that I wanted to communicate with him, I just thought that was a little weird. Not weird, but...
I'm a little bummed. I'm a little bummed that I didn't get a chance to talk to my pops or my grandmother.
But maybe tonight.
Yeah, maybe he's just waiting for the big stage. That'd be my grandmother. My grandmother she'd wait for the big stage and then pop in. But that was
I guess it depends on how drunk I get over at the old Brews with Attitude. Well, make it over, but we're on the guest list now, right?
Yeah, since Bob's my date, and he was sitting here in fucking tears.
Yeah.
I think he wants to, kind of get some closure from that experience.
Well,
so.
I mean, it's a good way to get in somebody's pants. You lube them up with their tears first.
Now, does Bob...
Wait, talking about me getting in his pants?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Does Bob have to give you roadhead on the way there or back? Have you discussed that?
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Or a handy?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit there next to him and go, oh, man, I'm channeling now.
No, you're going to pull Ned. You're just going to put your hand, you're going to put his hand on your lap and keep moving your dick over towards him.
Bob, your grandmother's telling me you need to give me a handy on the way home.
Hey, Bob, I don't know if you can help me with this boom mic.
But yeah, so she'll be at the Improv tonight, improvtampa.com.
And again, tonight would be May 12th, in case you're watching this. May 13th, 2026.
Well, let's get to the sheet you should know, because then I want to get an FNK theater in too before we get done here. We only got 12 minutes. So.
All right, let's do it.
Let's roll through it.
Okay.
Here's our first story of the day. The only thing worse than being caught with your girlfriend's dog is being the bottom to your girlfriend's dog.
Whoa!
A Montana man was arrested on bestiality charges in order to seek a mental health evaluation after he was caught getting humped by a husky dog. Kenneth Dwayne Kelmer was allegedly having sex with his girlfriend's family pooch at her home when she walked in. Kelmer was down on his hands and knees and had his pants down, she added. Cops were called and an investigation was launched. Now Kelmer is forbidden from having contact with any dogs or cats, including his own 6 pets.
Was that story from Missoula?
Yes.
No.
It was. It was from Missoula.
Yeah, that was the actual picture. That was a Missoula cop car.
You're so full of shit.
I swear to God.
That was the picture from the story.
It was from the Missoulian. They reported it.
All right.
Montana.
I have a lot of
Missouri.
questions about this, but I'll let you
Yeah,
go
I
first.
mean, let's start right here. Maybe the dog forced himself on. I mean, the husky's not it's a strong animal.
Did they test the guy's drink? Maybe some sort of roofie?
Maybe he was barking up the wrong tree.
Hey, yo!
Next story. No, stop right there.
No. I mean, yeah, it's not going to get better than a roofie. I promise you that.
That was funny.
Did he like his sex rough?
Number 2. Visual arts students at the University of California in San Diego must exhibit themselves in the buff before a naked class of 20
I'm
and
sorry,
a nude
what?
professor.
What did you just say?
Visual arts students.
Yep. Just slow her down a second.
Are you retarded?
Yeah, it's me. Yep. Yes. Please slow down for me.
Visual arts students at the University of California in San Diego must exhibit themselves in the buff before a naked class of 20 and a nude professor, or they fail an upper-level course.
Or the Border Patrol comes after him?
That's really him. That's really him. That's really the guy.
That's really who?
So
Him!
UCSD professor Ricardo Dominguez
Oh, that is him.
has been lighting his
That's
classroom.
not him.
That's, swear to God, that's him. Has been lighting his classroom by candlelight and bearing it all alongside his students as part of the assignment for 11 years and never received any complaints, he told the TV station. It's a standard canvas for performance art and body art, Dominguez says. If they are uncomfortable with this gesture, they should not take the course.
He changed. His
But
voice changed right in the middle.
But the student, he got excited. But the student's mother, who is not identified, accused the professor of perversity and said the final test was just wrong. Visual arts students, not these ones, but at the University of California, San Diego, must pose naked for an assignment on the erotic self. To blanketly say you must be naked in order to pass my class, it makes me sick to my stomach.
Well,
Still don't understand why the Border Patrol's after him.
I don't understand why the border. I didn't even notice that in the picture. I just thought it was a
You
cop
didn't
car.
notice the Border Patrol that was
Sneaking
like
up-
creeping out
yeah.
of her car? All right, so there's a picture, if you're not watching this, and good for you, there's a cop car, Border Patrol cop car, and there seems to be a small Mexican woman, police officer, creeping out of the cop car to bust Mr. Domingo.
No, it looks like she's going to give him a wet willy. That's the look on the person's face right before they stick their finger in their mouth.
No, that's the look my cat has when it thinks it's hiding. I can see you.
I'm gonna get you.
I can see you.
I didn't see it. You're it.
All right. It's ridiculous, but continue.
A woman plane passenger. That doesn't make any sense. A woman that was a passenger in a plane. How about that one? This was almost our F&K theater for the day, too.
Good thing we're starting to make sense.
No, this was almost our F&K theater, but I thought this would get a little weird in the room. So anyway, this woman passenger on a plane downed 14 shots of whiskey, then pulled her underwear down to her ankles and tried to join the Mile High Club.
By herself?
Yeah, no. So here's how this works. Lander started drinking at the airport because she was depressed before boarding her flight from Toronto to Halifax. She claimed a man sat next to her at the airport lounge and bought her up to 10 shots of whiskey, which she downed in about 20 minutes. After boarding the plane, Lander carried on drinking and asked if she could change seats to sit with the guy who was buying her drinks at the bar. About an hour into the journey, Mr. Dunn, who I don't know who the hell Mr. Dunn is, he claims a passenger told him the people sitting in seats 14A and 14B were quote-unquote about to join the Mile High Club. He testified that he found Lander and the man with a small jacket over their laps, but claimed he could easily tell what they were doing. Officer McRootloof, don't know who that guy is either.
That's Toucan Sam's alias.
He claimed Lander was disruptive and screaming profanities after meeting police at the arrivals gate. He also said she kicked him twice.
You ever done that? You ever tried? You contemplated it? Joining the Mile High?
Tried to play some chick with 10 shots of whiskey and rape her?
Yes.
Never did that.
You ever contemplated
Never did.
the Mile
Yes.
High Club?
Yes, I've contemplated it. And my thing is, if this is me and I see these two people doing this, as long as it's not the seat that. Look, if I was in the middle and they were like jerking each other off or fucking finger blasting her like over
I definitely
me,
wouldn't say anything.
well, I'd have a problem with
Over
that.
you? Like one's jerking off and one's
getting finger blasted. And
What are you doing?
I guess I'm finger blasting and jerking some. Weird. I take the whole thing back. I don't want any of this. I don't want to do any of this.
Wait a second. Can you jerk me off and
Finger blast him?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
So thanks, by the way, for not making that story the F&K Theater story of the day. We appreciate
That
that.
would have been weird.
I thought that would have got a little
Finally, you were right about something.
Number 4, it can be tough when you're a 45-year-old high school principal to score good weed in Florida. That is not, however, a good reason to be found hotboxing your car with one of your students, which is exactly what the police say they found Krista Morton doing when they responded to a call of suspected sexual activity in a vehicle.
She's got no glaucoma. Good
Both
for her.
were arrested on marijuana possession charges, and the teacher was suspended from her job, obviously, while it appears there may have been a sexual relationship between two of them as well. According to the Palm Beach Post, police found Morton in a state of undress with her shirt unbuttoned during the incident.
What school was this?
It just says Palm Beach
I
Post.
grew up in Palm Beach.
Oh, really? Maybe it was your old school.
Wellington High School represent.
And this is number 5. This is our
Take them back to your house. I mean, just how you hotboxing with a fucking student in your car?
And you're the principal.
Because it's creepy. You take a kid back to your house, that's creepy.
Oh, I guess. See, I'm thinking about just the weed part.
You're the fucking principal.
Right.
You're going to be like, hey, I'll be back in a second.
You're the principal. You just confiscated the weed. What do you have that weed for? This is going home.
I just not have gotten this thing over the last 15 years of female adult teachers, administrators.
Having sex with their students?
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Mrs. Grider, then she turned into Mrs. Pavlik, got married. I was very upset because I wish she would have banged me.
No, I'm not. I understand the want for something like that, but not just females. How do you, as a teacher or a principal, when you're weighing out, if you get caught, it ruins fucking everything. Sure. It ruins everything. How do you weigh that out and go, I'll take a chance of banging one of my students and getting high with them?
Awesome! Like them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube /Fisher and Kage. But make sure you go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube /Fisher and Kage.